The boys are back in town, the boys are back in town. I said the boys are back in town, the boys are back. Alright, shut up, Thin Lizzy. You're gonna get me a fucking copyright strike. Hey, how's it going? And welcome to another exciting, fat Persona tier list. So last week, I made the list for the girls. This time, we're gonna be doing the boys. Sounded a little gay. But yeah, I'm excited to get into it. The meta for the boys is a little bit different. I'm straight, in case you couldn't tell. So my wicked primal urges will not be interfering quite as much. I don't know about you, but Ryoji's, he's giving me some kind of look. He's looking a little fuckable. I have to fuck that. And one more quick thing relating to the girls list is, notably absent was Hifumi. I didn't notice until after the video went up and somebody, some people pointed it out to me. So she just slipped my mind. In the back of my head, I was thinking, I feel like there's a Persona 5 girl that's missing. I just couldn't quite piece together who it was. It was like some kind of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memory shit. But yeah, if I were to rank Hifumi, I'd say I like her about as much as, Mitsuru and Naoto. So she'd be an A tier-ish, or whatever tier they were in. And as for the Persona 1 and 2 characters, I have not finished the Persona 2 games. And when it comes to Persona 1, especially the girls, it's a combination of not really knowing enough about them and also just not really caring enough to rank them. And also a lot of those characters show up again in Persona 2, so I don't really know the full extent of their stories, accurately enough to rank them. And the boys are basically in the same situation. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's rank these boys. We'll start with Big Papa here. What to even say about Kaneshiro? I'd say he's more or less accepted to be the weakest of the Persona 5 villains. Just not that interesting of a guy, doesn't really have any particular connection to any of the cast. And I feel like he's stuck in this spot where I don't hate him enough, the same way I do with somebody like Kamoshida, to where I can say, okay, I hate you, and that makes you succeed as a villain. But I also just don't enjoy seeing him on screen, you know? He's kind of funny when he's in his shadow form as the Fly. But other than that, not great. Not somebody that I hate. Not somebody that I particularly like. Definitely evil, but the point isn't to rank them based on how evil they are, it's how much I enjoy them, and Kaneshiro could just be Thanos snapped out of existence, and I don't think anybody would mind. So that's why I'm putting him in a D. So I had to look up this guy's name. This is Mamoru. I've never liked Mamoru. I think he's one of the more forgettable Persona 3 social links. And I think a lot of my biggest problem with him is that he feels like he's a repeat of Kaz's social link. Just without, he's not as fun of a guy. They really are very similar links. They're both about a high school student who's doing athletic stuff for their family. But I've never cared. He feels weirdly just kind of removed from the protagonist's sphere of existence, if that makes sense. I guess part of why Kaz's works better, I might as well just bop him. I'd say I like him about that much, but I feel like the reason why Kaz's works better is because it's closer in relation to the protagonist's own life, because they go to school together and they're in the same club. And yeah, Mamoru's he's just kind of boring. I think once again, C tier is going to be the I just think you're kind of boring tier, where I don't hate you or think your existence is worthless. But also, you never interested me in any particular way. And then Kaz, on the other hand, is more funny. He's more kind of down to earth. So Kaz he's pretty alright. Namatame? Yeah, sure. I'll put him in C for now. I think Namatame is interesting. Not as, a character necessarily, but I think more because of the web he gets tangled in. Because I would say the best thing about Persona 4's mystery is the connections between Namatame and Adachi and Kubo. And, Izanami to some extent, but Namatame's, what he's doing, I think, is pretty interesting because he's under the assumption that throwing people into the TV is what's saving them. When in actuality, he's the one putting people in mortal danger, and then the investigation team is going and saving them. So that's sort of neat, how he develops this kind of messiah complex. I don't know, maybe I'll bump him up a little bit, because he has the interesting, his existence, I guess, is sort of interesting. Also, he might have an Izanagi, It's a possibility. But yeah, Namatame's, he's an interesting fellow. I'll give him that. Bebe. Ugh. Persona 3 has a lot of these, like, not great male characters, I find. Like, the adult male social links in that game are all really, really good, but then a lot of the people around your age group are pretty hit or miss. Guess they never miss, huh? But Bebe's just, like, he's just irritating. I wonder if they didn't go so hard on the French, like, his manner of speaking, if he would be more interesting, but I don't really think so. And his story just never particularly interested me. Like, he's got the whole thing with the kimono or whatever he was trying to make, and then there's the stuff with his aunt. He's also a huge weeaboo, but I never cared. So yeah, Bebe kind of like just an irritating presence to him. Never found his story or his social link very compelling. And yeah, it's Bebe. Alright, here's a hot opinion. I actually like Naoki a lot. So his is one of the, like, not as popular social links. I know that quite a few people don't really like Naoki. And even though initially he's a bit of a standoffish kind of asshole, I actually find his story to be really kind of interesting. And yeah, it feels like a pretty, like, realistic depiction, I guess, of what a sibling, like, somebody would feel when their sibling died. And he's like, yeah, things weren't perfect, like, she was kind of a bitch sometimes, but she was still my sister. And also there's the stuff going on with the liquor store, and how Junes is, like, encroaching on making them lose their fucking business, and how he's gonna have to inherit it and all. But yeah, Naoki's pretty good. I like Naoki a lot. What's this guy's name? Kuzu no something? Okumura? What the fuck was his name? Kunikazu Okumura. Yeah, Kunikazu's okay. He's fine. I think he's like a little bit more interesting than a Kaneshiro, but not as good of a villain as like a Madarame or fucking Kamoshida. He's a good, like, prop for Persona 5 to use, I guess. Like, he's Haru's dad, so there's that relationship going on. And he ends up getting splatted by Mr. Akechi Boy. So he has utility in the story, but he's just not very interesting to me. The stuff with him, like his palace being just a big fucking Star Wars ship, is kind of funny, because he's sort of this man-child at heart that never got a fucking model kit he wanted, and he never grew past that. I relate to that, you know? I feel that, bro. But yeah, he's okay, he just never interested me. Didn't really feel a hatred of him, but didn't, like him as a person either, so... We need to put some people up in this, this prestigious top tier up here. That's about... What's up, dude? But yeah, Junpei's awesome. I would say he's my favorite of the bro characters. But yeah, great character, really good character arc. I love seeing him go from this goofy, wacky guy who's just kind of having fun with it. He's like, whoa, Persona, dude, this is so cool! And then he develops a jealousy for the protagonist. And it's just great seeing him grow and learn that, like, he shouldn't be defined by his ability to use the persona. Like, there's more to live for than just being able to summon a magical entity. Junpei's great, best bro character, don't at me. Or do if you would like to, it's at Fither and Flare. Daisuke. I feel like I like him and his partner in crime about the same. So, yeah, that's about right. I like him. It's kind of funny how, like, the strength social link is split in two, and I find both of them pretty interesting, and I like both of these guys as characters, whereas the sun link, I have one that I vastly prefer, like, as a link and as a character, and then there's the other one that I'm just not into. But these guys, I like them pretty much the same. They're both interesting stories having to do with, like, people's relationships. Daisuke's is all about his ex-girlfriend, and Ko's is about, like, his family. I've noticed Persona 4 has, per capita, more, like, males around your age that I like a lot more than Persona 3. Persona 3, like I said, is very peaks and valleys with that, but Persona 4 is a lot more kind of consistent, I guess. But yeah, they're both good. Morgana. Oh god, I gotta think about this one. Morgana is a character that I think I start to like a little bit less as time goes on. Yeah, I think the main talking points about why people don't like Morgana have been discussed to death. There's the Haru thing where he throws his tantrum, and then there's go to sleep, haha, which is funny. Apparently they're lessening that in Royal, which is good, but definitely my least favorite male party member Actually, I don't want to say that, because this guy's hanging out. But we'll get to him. But at his best, Morgana is fine. But at his worst, he's very annoying. So for that reason, I think I'm going to have to put him in a C. Maybe I'd bump him up to B. I don't know. Yeah, I'll put him up in B. Because if you ask me, like, who's your favorite character among the three? Mamoru, Haru's dad, whose name I've already forgotten, or Morgana? I guess I would be like, Morgana. So I'll leave you there for now. Your placement may change. Ikutsuki. I think my biggest problem with Ikutsuki has always been that he was too obvious. I'm sure a lot of people didn't see it coming, but at least for me, Ikutsuki was always suspicious, and I think the biggest reason for that was because he was the only adult in this group of kids, and that always kind of raises red flags with me, you know? And we learn more about Ikutsuki in, like, Arena Ultimax. He had the whole thing going on with Sho, who's not on here because he's a spin-off character, I guess. And I'm sure most of us spent pretty much all of Persona 3 expecting him to come back, but nope, he jumps off Tartarus and stays dead. But he fulfills his function, I guess. He's, like, kind of entertaining with his corny jokes before he does his heel turn. But otherwise, just, he's there. He's very much just there. Shinya Oda? I like Shinya a lot. My man, get smoked kid. But yeah, I enjoy Shinya's Link quite a bit. Excuse me, his confidant. Not one of my favorites in the game, but I think it's a nice little story about a kid, you know, dealing with fucking self-esteem issues and having to deal with his mom and the acceptance of his peers and such. And learning to maybe not place so much value in, like, his ability to play a video game. But, I don't know, I've always liked the little guy. For some reason I can't quite explain. I jive with him, you know? There have been fucking goddamn airplanes going back and forth outside my house all day long. Pharos-kun. I don't really have a lot to say about Pharos. He kinda just exists. His nature is interesting, and the talks that he has with the protagonist are, like, kinda cool. But other than that, like, Ryoji is definitely a more interesting character. He has a lot more personality, that's for sure. I'll put my mans up in B. Daddy Dojima? Grab Dojima. There we go. A+. Bada bing. Dojima is awesome. Dojima's awesome. Great window into the life of, like, a stressed out, overworked single parent who's also just racked with grief about his wife's death that he's never been able to, like, find the guy who did it. And he's just a really nice kind of dad figure to have in a game like Persona 4. And while I think I prefer a certain other adoptive dad a little bit more, Dojima is definitely still, like, top 5, or maybe even like top 3 favorite male characters in that game for me. Kamoshida's, he's giving me a look. Okay, here's the dilemma. What do you do about a villainous character that you hate? It's really crazy to reflect back on how strong of an impact Kamoshida makes, and how it just feels like the villains just lessen every one that shows up. Like, Shido is obviously, I would say, better than, like, Kaneshiro, but, like, Kamoshida really is the king of Shit Mountain, to where his character never bored me, and I was always, like, I had a grudge, a genuine dislike of Kamoshida. And I think that's pretty impressive, so I think I gotta give him respect points, and at least bop him up to B. He really is he's such a bad motherfucker, and in a good way. So you get some respect points, you get street cred. Kenji. Oh, yeah, I'd say it's about right. I like him about as much as Kaz. I admire his MILF hunting pursuits. You know, he's a decent guy to hang out with. Like, he's a little bit more than a boring guy, like somebody like Mamoru, but he's not quite interesting. See, I'm thinking I might have to make another spot in between B and C, because this B tier is looking a little all over the place. But I'll leave it as it is for now. But yeah, Kenji's, he's okay. Kubo-kun? Oh fuck, what do I do about this guy? I don't hate him. So I think he's about a C for me. You know, Kubo was an incel before it was cool. I don't know, he's kind of stuck, I think, in a similar spot to, like, Haru's dad, to where, as a villain, I just don't care. Now, he's a bad dude, sure, but he doesn't bore me in quite the same way Kaneshiro does. But I've never felt, like, much of anything about him. Madarame? Yeah, Madarame, I'd say, yeah, I definitely need to do something about this B tier. Madarame, I'd say, he's about comparable to Kamoshida. Kamoshida's obviously worse, but his particular brand of villainy and his relationship with Yusuke just always stuck out to me a little bit more. More than people like, you know, Kaneshiro, I should say. But he really is a slimy motherfucker. Like, he raises art orphans and puts up this facade of being like this humble, oh, I live in a little shack and I toil my days away working on my art. And in actuality, he's got like fucking mistresses and mansions and shit. And he's a scum. But it's his relationship with Yusuke, who, spoilers, is one of my favorite Persona characters that makes him, he makes him escape the dreaded C tier. Shu Kun. I've never liked this guy. This guy looks exactly like me. So I don't know why, I've just never liked this kid. He's just never struck any particular chord with me. I guess I just find it hard to give a shit about school-related issues. I guess I'm just cruel, but whenever the kid is like, I need to make good grades or my mom won't love me, I just think, yeah, you better get on that. I don't know, maybe one day I'll drink the Kool-Aid and suddenly I'll like this kid a lot, but I don't see that happening. He's there. Definitely there. Should we pop a boy up in S tier? I'd say so. Let's grab my man's Yusuke, oh fuck, I almost clicked Futaba. Yusuke Kitagawa. Definitely my favorite Persona 5 character. Love him to pieces. Just, like, really, really resonated with me. He's the character in Persona 5 that, like, whenever he's on screen, that's when I'm happy. Him and Caroline. And there's obviously a lot of characters from that game I like, but none of them fill me with the same amount of joy that Yusuke does. And I love his story of basically being, like, raised to be a fucking art factory. And of course there's the relatable struggle in his confidant of, like, thinking your art or your creations or whatever are not good enough. And he's also just, like, he's the funniest Persona 5 character. He's just such a goofy motherfucker. Like, the parts in his confidant where, you know, you're at the church and he does the T-pose and, like, when you're on the boat with him. And Yusuke's just, I love him. He's my boy. Hidetoshi. I like Hidetoshi a lot. Yeah, I'd say he's about an A. I don't think I like him quite as much as, like, A+. Hidetoshi's good. He's kind of an asshole, but it's on this sort of asshole level that I can vibe with. But I like throughout the course of his link seeing him go from not trusting basically anybody to trusting the protagonist to learning, maybe being so obsessive-compulsive about rules is not healthy. And, like, opposing this tyranny on people is maybe not a good way to live. So I like Hidetoshi. I haven't put any of the protagonists up. I'll put Narukami. Oh, fuck. Okay. I'll put him in A tier. I would say, like, if you just take into account the games that they're in, and their appearances in that, Narukami is probably my least favorite. But it's his appearances in, like, the extended Persona 4 universe that made me really like him, especially the Persona 4 anime. He has this kind of naive, like, fish out of water vibe that I like, to where he's not as flamboyant as, like, Persona 5 Protag, but he's not as edgy and sarcastic as Persona 3 Protag. But I like him as this sort of, kind of, like, spaced out, go with the flow sort of dude. But yeah, Narukami's, he's pretty good. Got 2 rows of boys left. Jin, huh? I'd say he's about in this zone. Look how many of these guys in here have glasses. Jin's, like, okay, I just feel like I don't know enough about him. Strega as a whole is just, like, not super interesting to me. Whereas Takaya at least does a lot in the story. Jin's, like, he's kind of just there. And then, like, even Chidori, she gets, like, her whole thing with Junpei. But yeah, he's okay. He's fine. Don't have a lot to say about him. Fat bitch. Nozomi. What to say about Nozomi? It's just, Nozomi the person is so not enjoyable to be around. He's almost like Kaneshiro. They even kind of look similar. It looks like Kaneshiro could be his dad. He's just gross. I don't know, like, the way Nozomi acts is just not fun. That you can make some great fucking social links with scums, like Monkman here is one of the best fucking social links in Persona history. But I guess the difference between those two is that while Tanaka's is fun scummy, and Monk's is deep scummy, his is just gross scummy. It's about Yosuke. Okay, well, where am I gonna put this guy? Yosuke is my least favorite of the bro characters, but he's fine. I've never been able to form, like, a connection with Yosuke. Yeah, I think I definitely need to make another tier, because this is getting to be a problem. This is B-. I like how we have an A+, an A, a B, and a B-. Now, let me move some of these guys down. Fuck. Yeah, I'll put Namatame down a spot. And I'll also move these guys down. Okay, I might adjust this in a bit, but Yosuke. So, I think Yosuke works really well in Persona 4. Like, I really can't imagine having a better Inaba bro character. And Yosuke, when he's good, is really good. Like, I particularly like the more calm, collected, like, trying to think about shit and solve the mystery Yosuke. I think that's that's my favorite Yosuke stuff. It's just when he's spazzing out is when Yosuke starts to, like, get on my nerves. And I don't know, I just wish he would chill out. Alright, tell you what, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna now bump these guys down here. Yeah, Yosuke, he's good. I'd say I like him about as much as these other boys, but he's a more well-developed character than them. Alright, getting down to it. Theodore. Yeah, I like Theo. I'd say I'd put him about B. Theo's good, it's just most of his life is suffering. Like, he gets treated like fucking shit in Persona Q. I haven't played Q2. I assume that he gets treated, like, just about as badly, but I think in terms of Velvet siblings, I like him about as much as Margaret. He's fine. Just never really did it for me. I think this guy is named Bunkichi. The old guy. Yeah, he's fine. I'd say he's about B-. Pretty alright. Good story, good, social link. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna bump my man up to, B. Nice job, Bunkichi. You're in the upper echelon, my man. You're actually in the dead middle, but whatever. Got a lot of party members left. Ken. I don't hate him, but I don't love him either. I'd say that's about a good spot for him. I don't really care about the whole herder he killed Shinji thing, because he, like, really didn't. But other than that, just, like, out of the C's members, I think he's the one that I've always been kind of the least invested in. But he's fine. He's never, like, annoyed me the way he does with certain other people, but never really liked him very much either. So I think he's about good where he's at. Let's do some more Persona 3 then. Keisuke. He's in this, I don't know what it is with the fucking people with glasses being in C tier. Keisuke, another guy I don't really have a lot to say about. He's fine. His social link is, like, okay. Not as bad as, like, Bebe's or Nozomi's. I just struggled to remember him. So he's more guilty of being just kind of forgettable than anything. Ryuji. Yeah, I'd say he's about an A tier for me. Don't like him as much as Junpei, but I think I like him a little bit more than Yosuke. And I just find his backstory and, like, motivations and kind of how he progresses through the story a little bit more interesting than Yosuke. I think the stuff about letting him being a Phantom Thief, like, the fame get to his head, that stuff is neat. And he's just somebody I could see myself getting along with better than, like, Yosuke. So he's a pretty solid A tier for me. This A tier is weird as shit. Even I have to admit, my A tier is, like, bizarre. Shido. Fuck. What do I do about this guy? I don't mean to do this on purpose, with all the glasses people being in the fucking C tier. I think him and Jin have the same kind of shades. But, what to say about Cheeto? Just never really interested me that much. I never found him to be particularly hateable nor interesting. But he's more, he has, like, more to do with the rest of the cast than Kaneshiro. And I think his influence is just, it's, like, a little too far-reaching. And, to where it reaches a point where it's just, like, he's affected every Persona 5 character in some way. Like, not every character, but all the main cast. Like, oh, he's the one that got Joker, sent to jail. Or put on probation or whatever. And Futaba's mom died because he got Goro to ice her. And then there's his relationship with Okumura, and apparently Kaneshiro was working under him indirectly. It's like, it's too much. It just ends up feeling kind of silly. And like, when I reached him, I felt like I was gonna take him out more because the story was like, alright, take out Shido, rather than an honest desire to do that, the way it was with, like, Kamoshida and Madarame. So Shido's fine. His boss fight's pretty cool. Alright, we're getting there. Let's pop a boy. Monk. Yeah, Mutatsu's great. Might be my favorite Persona 3 social link. It's just a really sad, like, mature story about this monk who's turned to drinking and fucking smoking, and his, like, wife and kid left him. And while I'm at it, I'll say Tanaka is pretty much in the same ballpark. I like them for basically the same reason. I really enjoy these social links with these old, like, shitty people. And, like, whereas Tanaka is manipulative, and you can maybe say that he is an evil person, Mutatsu's ultimately not hurting anybody but himself. I love Tanaka's fucking social link. Like, yeah, hey kid, you wanna run a fucking racketeering scheme? That stuff's great. I love interacting with scum in a friendly manner. Why are the non-villainous adults, like, always some of my favorite male characters? We have a couple more old-ish men, and I guarantee you they're gonna be placed highly. So they're kings. Good work. Shinji. Yeah, I'd say that's about right. Shinji's really good. Really sad figure, works great with, like, the themes of Persona 3. Really good relationships with a lot of the rest of the cast. Like, him and Akihiko are obviously the main one. But he also has really cute stuff going on with Koromaru and Fuka. Yeah, Shinji, very good. Definitely A-tier worthy. Takaya. Oh, what do we do about you? I really don't think I can put this guy any higher than C. I feel a comparable sort of level of, like, to him I do as, like, Shido. The guy is, like, fine. I guess he works as kind of a parallel to C's, but him as a person just never clicked with me in any substantial way. Like, his whole scheme to not let the Dark Hour end, and what he ends up doing to Shinji, which is killing him. That stuff's all, like, fine and good, but Takaya's personality is just, like, I just feel, like, basically nothing towards the guy. He's, I don't know, he doesn't work for me. Y'all ever, like, have to sneeze, but the sneeze just won't come out? Let's grab another good boy. There's a lot of good boys I haven't put up there yet. Kanji! Love his personality, love his, his character development. I'm a big fan of his, like, brash attitude, but he's actually a really empathetic, sweet guy underneath. Definitely my favorite part of the Persona 4 crew. Joker? I'd say, yeah, he's about A tier for me. So Joker, I'd say him and Narukami I like pretty comparably, but I guess Joker edges out just slightly. First of all, I just like him more visually, and I also just find it easier to kind of self-insert it, like, as Joker than I do as Narukami. He's a little bit more snarky than Narukami is, and he's also a little bit more of a show-off, which I kind of like. But the thing is, like, at least as of right now, Narukami has the benefit of having an actually good anime, and also, like, Persona 4 Arena and stuff to flesh out who he is as a character. Whereas I feel like right now, Joker is kind of stuck in this spot where the anime really didn't do him, like, a whole lot of favors. Ah, yes, another day has gone by. My boys are all out of order. Let's get back into it. Igor. What to do about Igor? I'd say Igor's, he's about an A-tier-oni for me. I just noticed Mishima is, out of place. You fooled me with your feminine wiles, Mishima. Yeah, Igor's good. It's nice having, like, a prevalent force throughout the entire series. But yeah, Igor's good. He gets the seal of approval. Always nice to have him around. No good Tora. There's so many old gentlemen up in A+. But yeah, No Good Tora is great. One of the characters I regret not doing an episode of the Confidants on, because that really is one of my favorite Confidants in that game. I don't know, something about, like, Confidants and social links involving middle-aged and, like, older men end up being just, like, usually really good for whatever reason. I don't know why that is. But yeah, great story, just a lovable guy. No good Tora, more like really good character. Koromaru. What do you even do about Koromaru? I mean, how can you place him any lower than A+? I mean, really. This is not a hot take at all, but he's the best of the mascot characters, because he's just an actual dog. Yeah, he's a good boy. I hope he lives forever. Mishima. I am a part of the Mishima fan club. Yes, sir, I am. I think Mishima's great. I really like his confidant. I like his character. I like his role in the story, too. I think that's really, like, pretty cool how he's a non-Persona user who ends up playing a pretty major role in the events of things. And he's a pretty relatable guy, at least for me, sadly. Alright. S tier. My favorite Persona character, Akihiko Senpai. Yeah, Akihiko, my favorite Persona character. I recently did a video about him where I basically explained, like, why I love him so much. So go check that out if you haven't seen it already. And even though they turned him into, like a fucking crackhead in Persona Q especially, I try not to think about that. But even if they go and they drag him through the mud for the next 10,000 years, like my experiences with him in Persona 3, I think have secured a permanent spot for him up there. Have you noticed that I like all of the emperors? Iwai. Yeah, Iwai's another... I saved most of the good ones for last. Another, man that goes up there. Iwai's good. It fits into that archetype of, like, shady adult that I really like. Yeah, Iwai's a boss. Teddy. Yeah, I'd say, like... Him and Morgana, I think, are relatively even on the scale of how much I enjoy them, which is not a lot. Like, I don't hate him. He's just not a character that I enjoy very much. He's fine in small doses, I guess. But no extended contact for me, thank you. We got some hot gentlemen left. Ryoji. Ryoji's pretty good. I wish he had more time to exist. I guess I'll put him, he's about a B for me. I could maybe see myself bumping him up to A, but he's fine. I like the time that you have with him. Like, whoever was making the Persona 3 movies must have really liked Ryoji, because most of the third movie, or not most of it, but a good chunk of it, is dedicated to this, like, weird Ryoji and protagonist kind of shipping, like, aura. It reminds me of, like, Kaworu and Shinji from Evangelion. It has that kind of energy. It's really gay. Ryoji's fine. He's an interesting fellow. Sojiro, another one. This fucking list of all of these old men just in a row. A dog, Mishima, and Junpei. This fucking council. Yeah, Sojiro's great. I really like his relationship with, like, the protagonists and some of the rest of the thieves. And he just has a really fun personality. Whereas Dojima was more kind of grumpy and, like, keep to himself, Sojiro is, like, the opposite. He's on a fucking pussy quest, dude. Or at least he used to be. He's mellowed out in his old age. He's aged like fine wine. Yeah, you're a good man there, Coffee Dad. the Goro he's been looking at me this whole time. Akinari. Shit. I'd say he's about a B. His social link is like one of the best in Persona 3. I would say it's top 3-ish. Really good social link. Just what a sad fucking character. It's crazy to like look at this and see just how polarizing a lot of the social link Persona 3 characters are. As you look and it's like Monk and then fucking Tanaka and Akinari are up here. And then you look at the bottom and it's like Nozomi and Bebe and Keisuke and Mamoru. So I guess the moral of the story is be old or be dying. That was the secret to being a good social link in Persona 3. I'll talk about Persona 3, guys, so we can have the good detective boys for last. A tier, A+, I should say, definitely. He's my favorite protagonist. It's got my favorite design, my favorite, like, personality of them all. And I just really enjoy kind of, like, putting myself in his shoes and enjoying the story of Persona 3. He has such a great, mid-ish 2000s emo vibe to him. And he's always just kind of jived with me more than, like, Persona 4, Narukami, and, you know, Joker. Alright. Which one should I talk about first? They're both so interesting. I'll get Akechi out of the way. Oh, fuck me sideways. Okay. This is very difficult. See, the problem with Akechi is, like, let's say, for example, I just treat Goro like this is the first, like, not the first half, but before he does the you-know-what after Sai's Palace. I would say he's about an A-tier character. Pretty good. Maybe about a B. But afterwards, he becomes nonsense, and I can't stand him. He becomes, like, D. Like, really not good. But I still have this sort of, like, enjoyment of him as a character. Not in terms of, like, his backstory or his mindset or whatever, but just as a thing that exists. Goro brings me this indescribable delight because of how fucking strange he is. I think he might be the character that I've spent the most amount of time talking about, because everything about him is unintentionally interesting. From the development of Persona 5 and the marketing of it beforehand and his role in the story and why is there such a sudden change in between, like, before and after his betrayal. And what are they gonna do with him in the future? So Goro really is the gift that keeps on giving, but he's like accidentally interesting, I think. And like, if you were to gun to my head, ask me, do you like Goro more than Ken? Some part of my wicked soul would say, I get more enjoyment out of the mess that is Goro. I will put him in B-. He'll be right between his friends, Teddy and Morgana. Actually, you know what? No, fuck it. I'll put him in B tier, but he's the weird, like, rejected sibling of the B tier. And finally, the police dick himself, Adachi. S tier. Probably my favorite Persona 4 character. It's very close between him and Kanji, but I think Adachi just barely edges it out. Adachi's just wonderful, definitely my favorite Persona antagonist. Such a shit-eating personality. He has, like, a just really, really fun kind of presence to him. He's so fucking quotable, and, like, he's the only Persona villain that I genuinely enjoy as a character. But yeah, Adachi, he's the best. Alright, let me do one more quick glance at the list. D tier, yeah, pretty much. I don't think there's anybody here that I would drop down, necessarily. Yeah, I'd say this is about right. Alright, thank you all so much for watching. Boys are back in town, the boys are back in town.